Of course. Hey guys, what's going on? Anthony Angelillo, branch manager over here with the Tag Team and CEO founder of Tag Team Nation Marketing Tech Company. I wanted to say thank you for Phil coming on our show. I'm excited for today's show. And anyone that doesn't know who I am the lender, and any lending institution that knows who I am, any person that knows or wants to conduct business with me, please give us a shout out. Thank you so much for following, guys. With that, I'll leave it with Melinda.
Hi, everyone. Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney with Grimaldi Law Firm, the closer's title, co-host of Damage Control. Anthony, what episode are we on? 69. I even lost count. 69?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good episode for me to be on then.
All right. we got a good one today, guys. I'm so happy and honored to have Phil on the show with us today. Phil, I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do if they don't know you already.
Hey, everybody. My name is Phillip Calloway, broker, owner of Influencers Realty Group, and I am a crypto certified agent through Proppy Inc., which we'll be talking about a little bit today. Native to Miami and love the real estate market and industry. So yeah, happy to be here, guys. Amazing.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the certification? You're the first person that I've met that actually has this. So talk to us about that. What does this mean?
So Proppy Inc. Actually hosts a certification. It's about 7 different webinars that you're going to take. And all in all, it probably takes about 7 hours of just kind of coursework material, listening and taking notes. And then you're going to have to take an exam, just like, almost all your other certifications. So it is, it's a little tech heavy in the beginning. So it helps you understand a lot about the blockchain and the things that you probably don't hear on TV as far as basic information. And then it delves into how it all ties into the real estate world. So I thought it was really good. As somebody who's been in crypto for a while, it really gave me a lot of back technical information that I maybe hadn't taken the time to learn when I was just kind of researching different cryptocurrencies, but understanding how the blockchain works and how it can be effective in our industry was, I felt, the best part.
Awesome. So you personally invested and now you have the certification to be able to help service, clients as this starts to unwrap, because we're still very early on in the implementation stage, if I should call it that, of how this crypto NFT world is going to play in real estate. But
yeah, I think it's really interesting because, for those who've been diving into crypto, I personally invested in it probably 2019, right before COVID started. I started getting into it, and during COVID, I really did a lot of research about and began to understand how the whole blockchain worked. But again, was not really diving in on a technical level. So when I took the course, it helped me understand it on a more technical level. And then, as you said, we're just at the tip of the iceberg for how it's going to affect real estate. And I think it's really exciting.
Awesome. Anthony, you've also invested in some of this, right?
Yeah, I invested in a Bitcoin, I want to say in 2016 or 17. And then I pulled out like an idiot. That was awful. I lost a lot of money there.
Why'd you pull out?
Because it started tanking, and I did the evaluation. I would have had probably $1 million in Bitcoin, but
you just held on to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I got scared. I freaked out. I needed the money at the time, and I pulled out. But now I heavily have a substantial amount of money in there, and I invested heavily in the past, I want to say, couple of months, last year, I would say, actually, to be spot on. And it's now taken a nosedive, but it's a long-term play for me. I'm just holding the money there. I don't have any NFTs. I have just Bitcoin and a whole bunch of coins. I've got Mana, I've got Solana, I've got Bitcoin,
Ether, I'm sure.
Several. Yeah, Ether, I got that. All of that. And I just, it's difficult, man, to really get a grasp of it. I understand it, but it's really, really deep, man. I mean, it's very deep stuff. And so I would love to take that course. You're saying what, it's 6 to 7 hours? Explain technical aspects. I think, elaborate on it.
So the webinars are about 45 minutes each. I think there's one that's like an hour and a half, but obviously, you're going to pause it, you're going to write stuff down, you're going to take notes. So I think if you give yourself at least an hour for each webinar, and there are 7 webinars, I think that would give you enough time to, go through it. And again, you don't need to dedicate 7 hours in one day. You can, do it over time. There's no restriction on how fast or slow you can go.
So I wanna kind of bring it to the point that it's important when there's changes in the economy, changes in the industry, we need to take the time to slow down and learn about these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And myself included, because I have nothing in that industry. I have not one US penny in crypto or anything like that. I don't know why. I haven't started yet. I intend to. I just don't want to start something that I don't understand. So I'm slowly starting to learn and unwrap this for myself, because I just think it's important. I want to be like I don't know. I don't have the guts that Anthony has to invest in something that I don't understand fully. I don't know if you thought you understood it very well when you started it, but I don't have that risk factor in me. I don't like to gamble, so I have to understand it, but I know it's not going away. Funny enough, my dad didn't. I'm like, Dad, you're crazy. This is like a few years ago.
He did it?
He invested in something, part of the industry, not the actual coin, but the servers or something like that.
Okay.
And so I was like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like you don't even understand it. He doesn't even know how to turn on a computer. Like he's like an old school kind of businessman. So anyways, but the point is you can't really ignore these trends.
Exactly.
And as a lot of people say this, that it's still early, it's still a good time to get in. So one of my goals is to educate myself. So I'll look into this. And I know there's several other resources as well to,
I'll tell you, Melinda, that I kind of jumped in feet first. I took a little bit, I took like $50 one day and I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. And as I bought it, then I started reading articles. And the more I dove into it, the more I was like, I need to put more money in this. And I learned as I went. Mm-hmm. I would say that. And for me, at least, by putting a little bit of money in there, it gave me an incentive to learn more. Because I was like, okay, if I lose $50, it's not the end of the world. I've spent $50 on worse, on stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to give me a reason to sit there and start doing the research and whatnot, because now I've put a little bit of money into it. I wouldn't throw $10,000 at something I had no idea about, but at the same time, I would have never took the time to learn about it to get to the point where I could put 10,000 in if I hadn't started with that little $50 here, $200 there type situation.
Very, very true. And I'm gonna take you up on that suggestion. By the end of March, I will have started investing. And I only say that because I have to still figure out how to start investing. Like I know you got to have a wallet or something like that. Mm-hmm. So like that, I'll work all that out.
Go to Coinbase. Go to Coinbase.com. Go to Coinbase, and basic tutorial will help you set up your wallet. That's something you can easily do in 15, 20 minutes, and then you go from there.
Cool. I like it. I'll do it.
So let me ask a couple questions here. Ethereum is powering Bitcoin, correct? That's the whole
Ethereum
theory.
And Bitcoin are two totally different things.
So what is powering Ethereum?
The Ethereum blockchain.
Okay. And
so Ethereum blockchain is one, and that's proof of stake. And then you've got the Bitcoin blockchain, which is proof of work, which is all the miners that you hear about.
And so mining, which I am definitely not into, I just threw money into it. And I did well. Then it took a nosedive, and it all started with Doggy Coin or whatever that was. Shiba, I'm sorry. Shiba was the one. And I made a crap ton on Shiba. I was like, all right, this is cool. And I started reading mass articles. But my whole thought process is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I think banks are going to start using this. And so and if Chase or Wells Fargo or Bank of America start trading NFTs and they get that acceptance, then I think we're going to hit 100 easily on Bitcoin. Like that just makes, right? It makes complete logical sense.
I don't know if you know that Chase actually is in the metaverse now. So
Okay.
Chase opened up the Chase, I want to think it's the Chase Sapphire Lounge in Decentraland. So if you're into that whole metaverse NFT space, now when you go into the Decentraland, you could see the Chase Lounge. Not that I think that many people are trying to go hang out in the Chase Lounge in the metaverse, but at the same time, they're investing in the space. They're taking the time to get involved and figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So if you see these big players, whether they're big companies or some of these big celebrities, business people putting their stake, putting their their flag, right? Like as you go to the moon, they put the American flag there. This is like these people doing that in this virtual world. So it can't be ignored anymore.
Exactly.
So
If
Kevin
you ignore
O'Leary,
it, it's reckless, right?
so Kevin O'Leary just invested into Meta. All right. But that's a stock. So see, here's the controversy. A stock is even your husband would agree with me on this one, Melinda. A stock is tangible. It's there. I guess like the whole fear is that we don't, it's, where is it? What are you investing in? Can you shed some light on that?
So like Meta is a stock of Facebook, the company.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're investing in Bitcoin, though, or any cryptocurrency, you're investing in the blockchain, and the blockchain is essentially it's a decentralized ledger. It's like the way I explained it when I was speaking to the Miami Association of Realtors. Think of the blockchain as a digital book that is around the world that everybody who has a computer has access to. And when you go in this book, you can essentially write a page in this book by doing a transaction, and that transaction is now immutable. It's never going to be deleted. It's never going to be altered, and it's always there. And it has a hash that's protected so that if I'm going in there and I'm looking at it, I can see it forever and it'll never change. So when so the coins are essentially the way it was original, the way I understood it, and it's been explained to me, is that the coins essentially are the reward for the people who are mining. So the people who are mining are the ones that are essentially making on these computers, making sure that this network never shuts down.
Yeah.
And when you think about last year when Facebook went down, Facebook in itself is its own network. But when Facebook went down, it's because that it's a centralized network. There's one mega computer that Facebook has that powers its network. With Bitcoin, with the blockchain, I have a computer, and Anthony has a computer, Melinda has a computer, and if one of our computers go offline, then the other computers are essentially picking up the slack and controlling the network.
Got it. Makes sense.
So in the legal space, this is being discussed as something that will eventually or possibly likely going to replace a lot of these recordings and these transactions and these things because it's unfuckable with, for lack of a better word, right? Like that's so that this part I understand that, it's going to change the way we register things in the future, the way we transfer assets, the way we hold assets. Exactly.
So with title, just kind of to keep it there, right?
Right. If we talk.
So essentially, what is already in the works is where when you have title, it's recorded on the blockchain. So essentially, on the recorded deed, there is a QR code that gives you that has a QR address that will show you the address on the blockchain. And so now you'll have all the information about title, everything that's ever happened on this property will be recorded. So now instead of taking 5-6 days to get a title commitment and to find out what's going on with the file, you can have that information in seconds, even hours. And then when you're transferring, like with this particular with the latest NFT, with this NFT real estate that just took place in Tampa, when they transferred the title, literally, but they had already done the title work, put the title on the blockchain so that when they had the auction, all you're doing is transferring ownership from one person to the next. And that happened in a matter of minutes.
Yeah. So I looked into the technical thing of how it happened. So they own the property. The LLC, it was put in the company.
Put in the LLC.
The company shares was is now being owned by this. So it's not actually the title that was put there, because they can't do that yet. The title is still registered with the county, but the shares of the entity that owns this property is what is there. See, now how this disrupts how we're doing business is when you buy shares, this is the lawyer me.
Okay.
When you buy shares of a company versus a title of a company. So I'll let me scale it back, because sometimes I get people that call me, I just want to buy the company to avoid all the closing costs. I don't want to, instead of not the real estate. Does that make sense so far? I want to buy the company that owns the real estate and not the real estate directly. So as a lawyer, I always say, you got to be careful, because you're buying that company with all its problems in the history, right? So if it's a brand new holding company, maybe the risk factor is low, but if it's a company that's been around for a while, that owns multiple pieces of property, that's filed taxes, then you're dealing with someone, because that liability then becomes yours, because you're now the new owner of the company. So you're taking it subject to whatever you have, and you don't have title insurance to clean that up if there's a problem. So that's where the industry is going to have to catch up if this is going to be the new way of doing it, right? Well, for now, it's going to be the LLCs holding it. That's people who have cash to buy or Bitcoin to buy something in that nature, right?
Right.
Obviously, a lender is not going to give a loan on that type of a transaction. You're not going to be able to get title insurance on that type of a transaction. So it's going to take time for that to evolve. And there's going to be a lot of changes, I'm sure. Like, we're still trying to figure out how to do remote online signings for loans, you know, like we're still not doing Ron for loans. And now all of a sudden, this is like going to change everything once again. Right. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how this impacts the legal space too, because there's going to be estate planning and considerations. How do you account for these investments in crypto in your estate plan? How do you deal with these real estate transactions? How do you deal with these companies that are now being owned by, these transactions or these NFTs or these, I'm not even educated enough to say, but I just know enough to say there's a lot more we don't know, or we're still trying to figure out.
So one of the things they taught us in the crypto course is that when you NFT a property, it has to be a brand new LLC with no other assets in it. I guess speaking to the part that you were talking about, because they don't want an LLC that's been around for a while that could potentially have issues. So I know that is one thing that we were talking about. Anthony, I want to kick it to you. Have you heard about these like companies like Milo or Nexo.io that are doing crypto-backed mortgages?
Milo is someone I was looking into, and that's the investor that I'm definitely going to probably speak to, because to broker out to Milo would be badass, man. But I don't know, man. It's definitely out of my wheelhouse. I need to speak down with the investor and see how to really close on that type of transaction.
A whole new world.
It's completely a whole new world. But it's definitely feasible. It's something that I honestly see in the future. And that's why I invested in Bitcoin and crypto, because I think it will be the future ultimately by 2030, I would say. Now they're saying a lot of things are going to be happening. I guess my question too is how do you essentially make money? Like if I am someone that just wants to make a couple bucks on the side with crypto, what would you recommend doing? Because I know mining, quote unquote, is like the perfect thing to do. Is that something that, I mean,
mining is expensive to get into. Again, this is not financial advice, because I know none of us are.
That's fine.
But I would say that staking, if you have a little bit of money invested in crypto, you should be staking your coins.
What does that mean, staking your coins?
So essentially, it's the way I explain it would be like that you are putting your coins back up for to be used, like kind of like money in the bank. You have your money in your savings account and they're paying you interest on it.
5%.
I've got some coins that are getting me 10%, 15. I have I don't know if you know about Miami Coin, but you can stake Miami Coin for 146% return. Now, Miami Coin's not worth a whole lot, but if you have money invested there, you can stake that and eventually earn Bitcoin.
Interesting. So there's a lot of opportunities and ways to get in, right? But the first place is to start, and anything new is always uncomfortable, right? So we definitely need to move past that discomfort. Like anything, so I realized, okay, I can't ignore this any longer because people are calling, could I buy with crypto? Yes. Technically right now in a standard transaction, you can't, if you want to get title insurance, right? There's ways around it. Like you have to, because you can't buy your premium of title insurance with crypto. So there's closing costs and there's ways it can be done, but it's not the traditional way. So most companies will not be doing it, but this is going to change. So I know that so for example, when this started happening, I called my underwriters, can I close with crypto? Like, what's the status? They're like, no, we don't allow it.
So if I have crypto and I want to close, yes, I guess for sure I know that I can. I know of Propy's doing it where you can pay crypto directly. You can send your crypto directly to Propy, and Propy will, if the seller wants cash, they will convert that into cash to give to the seller. I don't know the technical side of how what happens on the back end. I mean, I feel like you would probably learn that faster.
Yeah. So if the buyer's okay with doing it that way, then that cuts out all the paperwork, the research, but if they want to go the traditional route, like put money in escrow, they're going to have to do that and then send that crypto converted funds in escrow to be able to disperse the traditional way.
They can convert it. Yeah,
they can convert it. Now, a lot of them won't and I guess that's where the industry, where Milo and Nexo come in, because you don't want to sell your crypto, convert your crypto to cash, because of the fact that now you have to pay capital gains.
Yeah.
So if I have a bunch of money in crypto, I don't want to have to convert it into cash and then have to pay the capital gains tax. So I'd rather have a crypto backed loan.
Right. And that's something else that's going to be changing very soon, I'm sure, because the federal government is not going to allow that to happen for much longer, because there's just like stocks, even if you don't cash out, you have gains. I don't want to say guarantee, but I am certain the federal government will put their noses in this one way or another, because it needs to be declared. And how do you declare it? So we mentioned estate planning implications, business implications, real estate implications. There's going to be tons of tax implications with what's going on, for sure. So we got to be mindful of that. And hopefully whatever comes out is not retroactive, because that will put a lot of people in debt with the
capital gains will be the least of their problems.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So
what about
go ahead.
So I was going to say, for staking, not to go back, you're guaranteed 5%, right? But is it based on how much you buy in for? So if I buy Bitcoin at 56, let's just say, and I immediately stake it, now I'm making 5% from the investor guaranteed. Is that
so? You're making 5% on. All right. So if you're staking your coin, you're going to get 5% on what it's worth the day. Like, are you getting paid out daily? Are you getting paid out annually? So most of my coins are all staked, and essentially I see the value change. So I see the value of the coin going up and down, and I also
based on the index. You're getting the value percentage on the index. Okay.
So I'm seeing. So let's say I have a couple different coins staked, and so when I log into my account, I'll see that maybe the coin went up 5% for the day, or maybe the coin went down 5% for the day. And my payout based on me staking it is going to fluctuate based on what the coin's valued at. But if I decide to stop staking my coin, I still get all the amount of coin that I put in, I get that right back. Now, whether or not that coin has fluctuated in value, that's a different conversation.
So it's like, in essence, it's like putting your money in a CD.
Exactly.
A higher rate of return.
It's a much higher rate than a CD, though.
We got to talk then, because that's what I think I need to do, because I just put the money in and I'm just watching it.
Yeah. So you essentially are almost losing money, because you could be staking those coins and earning more money with the money that you've already got invested.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, cool. That takes care of that.
Takes care of that. That's simple as that. Let's just do that. I know what to do next. All right, very good.
Back to the show.
back to the show. Yeah, exactly. So what else are you seeing? What has this training that you did, the certification done to give you a maybe a foreshadowing of what's going to happen in real estate?
So I think that as we're going to start to see the crypto millionaires wanting to buy property. And I think that as we watch what happens with this whole Ukraine situation on the value of crypto, as we watch to see what federal regulators do with it and how the value of crypto goes up or down, I think we're going to see people who got in early, so maybe someone like who jumped in 2016 like Anthony did, but didn't sell when it dropped in 2017 and has held on to it and has ridden that wave all the way up. Now you've got those people who have let's say $1 million in crypto, but maybe don't have the traditional job or traditional income to go get a regular loan. So those guys are going to be looking to purchase homes. And so how are they able to, are they using a crypto-backed loan to purchase that home? Are they finding a seller who's willing to take crypto for the purchase and buy it directly because it's almost essentially a cash transaction now. Because essentially
it's cash, but it could act as like a trust if they give themselves distributions for the next 2 years.
Okay.
If it's being sold to Fannie or Freddie. So yeah, that's awesome, man.
We're getting very technical.
I think that's going to be really interesting. Where Fannie and Freddie fall on this whole situation with the crypto-backed loans, I think that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen anything yet coming down the pipeline, but I think when it does come, I think that'll be really, really interesting how Fannie and Freddie treat it.
Question. So these crypto-backed loans that you're talking about, are they using the crypto coin as the guarantee rather than the real estate?
As the collateral, yeah.
As the collateral.
The cryptos are collateral. And then essentially, once you pay back your crypto loan, you get the crypto back and you have the house.
And then at the same time, your crypto is growing.
Your crypto's growing.
Who gets the benefit of the growth? The lender or yourself?
Say that again?
Right?
Who gets the benefit of the growth of the crypto if it's being secured? You? That's a good question, right? So that's a good question that we need to.
I do know that if you take out a crypto backed loan and the value, let's say I put, 500,000 worth of Bitcoin into a crypto backed loan to get a crypto loan. If the value of Bitcoin drops, I'm going just kind of like options trading. If the value goes down, I'm going to have to provide more Bitcoin to cover this collateral.
So it's not so clear cut.
So there is, that piece. So the lender is protected in that way.
So then likely if you gotta compensate if it drops, you get the benefit if it grows.
Exactly. So if it grows, you can always come back and say, hey, give me some of the crypto back because it's gone up. Maybe that my 500,000 investment that I gave the lender in crypto is now $1 million. So I say, hey, give me half of it back. You keep the rest to cover until I pay off the loan.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Well, all these things we're still unwrapping, right? Because it's like being created as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So in 20, 30 years, we're going to think back to this conversation. Remember when we were just still trying to figure it out? This is history in the making, which is pretty cool.
It is wild. It's wild to think about all of it, like where the hell it's going to all end. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, if Snoop Dogg is buying a house and people are paying millions to buy a house right next to him in this metaverse, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy. Like,
that's nuts,
but you know what it is too, is also like, what else are they going to do with this crypto right now? So people are using these funds because they have nowhere else to put it. Like it's just starting to have options to use your crypto. That's how I see it. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add to that? It's like why people are spending so much money to buy things in this virtual space?
Well, I think we've all seen how inflation has taken over, and it's not worth it to keep our money in cash. So where can you put, what asset can you put your money in that's going to grow? We see that real estate is right now the best. From an article I read earlier, it was like 41% appreciation. So you're looking at, that's the best avenue to put your money in.
Wow.
Crypto and stocks are up there, but I mean, stocks have taken a hit over the last 6 months. Crypto is definitely not, has been trading sideways or down for the last few months. So, I mean, if you've got a bunch of money in crypto, it makes sense that you would want to put it in an asset that can appreciate, like real estate.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and it's tangible too. It's there. It's structural.
Mhm.
You know, it's.
And now this whole metaverse thing is taking it to another level. Did you guys hear about this NFT mansion that's being under construction in Miami?
No.
So they're building the first NFT mansion. It's going to be 11,000 square foot home, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms. It's on an acre lot. So, and they're going to auction it there. It's under construction right now. Okay. So when it's completed, they're going to auction it off like that auction that they did for the other NFT. The winner of the auction gets the house in real life as well as the house in the metaverse.
Holy shit, man. That's crazy.
So now that person who buys that house can now host events in the metaverse and have people all over the world come to the house, and it's literally the same house that they have in real life.
Wow, that's interesting.
They're calling it Meta Residence 1.
So it's so wild, man. I mean, if you really think about it, to go, I got to check this metaverse out because it's like really deep stuff, man. To go into a house and literally check it out and see it right there in front of your eyes. Like, talk about virtual reality, man. You know,
it is virtual reality.
It's taking what we've done with Battleport to a whole new level.
Yeah. It mind blown.
Yeah, it is. It's making me like go a mile a minute right now. Like I'm getting nervous just thinking about all of it. All right. What are the challenges? Like, what are tell me the downfall. What can happen to somebody's money that they invest? Number one. Number two, we already talked about the political side. I think government will definitely step in to try to see if they can make money into this. But like, what happens that could really screw up you if you try to invest? Like, what are the downfalls of investing in crypto?
Again, I'll just say it again since we're recording, you know, this is not financial advice, but you have to remember that any investment, you know, there's a risk that it can go down to zero. There's a risk that you buy into a coin that goes from, you know, 0.5 cents to zero, and you know, then you've lost your money. So that's a real risk. You know, there's so many different coins, so many different NFTs. You know, everybody's creating NFTs now. So what happens if I buy, you know, if Anthony decides to create an NFT and I decide to buy into it, what guarantee do I have that Anthony's NFT is going to be worth any more tomorrow than it is today? You know, so
I'm seeing that even Cardone is starting his own.
You know, so you've got so many people. I feel like there's a lot of hype, you know, that a few years ago there was that where everyone was creating new coins, that they had the ICO movement, and a lot of those coins went back to shit, excuse my language, but you know, they literally wound up being worth nothing. So now you've got people who've invested in them, and I think that's the scary part. I think that's why people like Melinda are like, you know what, I want to research it more before I put my money into it, because you know, there is a chance that you could be throwing good money into something that's absolutely nothing. I think when you're looking at the Bitcoins and Ethereums and some of those major coins that have been around for, you know, a decade or more, you know, they've been around for a long time, just nobody was really talking about it. And they were only in certain circles. Whereas you have some coins that literally pop up overnight and, you know, they're here today, they'll be gone tomorrow.
Like Shiba, like something like that. I think that was a hyped one.
But I think if you can do the analogy with stocks, like there's companies that have been around forever that go up and down because that's a natural. What goes up must come down, right? And any cycle of any really industry, right? There's ups and downs. True. And being able to analyze, know when a good time to go in and pull out is, right? That's always the question. But when it comes to some of these Bitcoins, like these well-standing company versus a new startup that goes public, you can make that investment, but you're really just putting your confidence in who that team is and what you're looking into in the financials, right? So it's similar. I don't know how much information is available. I don't know if you have like on these new.
I mean, you could look at. I mean, For almost any coin that's on an exchange, you can look and see what its market cap is. You can see what its trading
So
volume is.
that's what I mean. These market caps are massive. That's why I invested. You can't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
when you see those market caps,
again, it's like to Melinda's point, it's just like a stock. You know, if you look at a stock and you see that it's not trading, like a very few people are trading it, it's got a very small market cap, you know, there's a higher risk to that than, you know, going into one of your stable companies that's been around for 100-something years. You know, same thing with Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's got almost $1 trillion market cap. So at that point, Bitcoin's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but you know,
Right,
there are coins, you know, the ABC coin that just popped up 2 days ago and got like less than $1 million market cap. You know, you're investing at your, you know, buyer beware.
Right. But then just like Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and just like some of these big companies are not going anywhere in the stock market, outside factors impact what the valuation is, right? New regulations, industry factors, you know, the politics and you know, the world events, right? So there's so many different pieces that impact the value of a stock, and it's probably going to be the similar analysis for the crypto. So with that, that's a lot of information to digest, guys. But it's somewhere to get started. So if you're in it already, good for you. If hopefully you picked up some new nuggets or things to consider. Definitely if you're in real estate and you're an agent, think about the Proppy Inc. Certification for realtors. I think that's super cool, and something that worth looking into nowadays, because people are asking about it. So, you know, at least even if you're not going to specialize in something like that, to be able to familiarize yourself, to be able to have an educated conversation and know what's going on in the industry and in the financial space of the world. It's a really smart thing. Phil, if someone wants to ask you questions, follow up, learn more, how can they reach you?
Best ways through social media. On Instagram and almost all social media, I'm at the Real Sir Calloway on all social media platforms.
And Phil, you've got a little piece that we can send out to the audience subscribers. Anything like information or a little presentation?
I do have a presentation. I guess I have a presentation that I can send you.
Send that over. We'll send it out to everyone.
Sounds good. Definitely.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Phil. It's been a pleasure. We appreciate your time. And if you guys have questions, let us know. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you.